Hello, Matt. How are you
Hey
doing?
Dom, yeah, I'm good, mate. How are you?
I'm very good. Matt Johnson, ladies and gentlemen. No special introductions needed right there. Matt, thanks so much. This was a beautiful performance. I have to say, I'm quite surprised on what sounds you can get out of. Uh, Give me an update.
Oh, thank you, mate. Yes, I'm really happy with it. I'm loving using it, and I've been amazed at how easy it is to use. Actually, to be honest.
Yeah, it looked like it. Matt, what are you up to these days? I know that you are doing quite a few things, also running a very cool YouTube channel that everyone should check out.
Yeah, well, like you say, I've been doing a bit of stuff on YouTube. You can find me, Matt Johnson Jamiroquai. Quick plug. Check it out. All things synth. Enjoying doing that, and just doing the odd performance on it. Actually, has been really good fun too. Just to keep my hand in playing, and also, I'm making a new solo album. It's the first solo album I've done, actually, so I'm really excited about that.
Oh
And
wow!
that's coming out probably mid-August. First single at the end of this month. So yeah, that's going to be great.
All right. What is your what kind of music should we expect from this?
It's really retro. It's like basically it's almost like my what's the word? My inspirations when I was growing up, like things like Ramsey Lewis, Sun Goddess,
Oh
these
nice.
classic jazz funk albums, Herbie Hancock, Headhunters,
Oh
you can
wow.
expect a bit of all those things. But it's obviously it's a modern recording as well. It's got a modern sonic, so it's got my kind of production take on that classic sound. I'm really excited about it, and it's not just a muso album. I think it's hopefully a record that everyone should be able to enjoy.
Nice. So we should expect a lot of cool synth stuff.
Yeah, there's definitely a fair bit of synth action on there.
Nice, nice, fantastic. I'm looking forward to this. Matt, I was really, really impressed by, your video and the sounds that, you, were playing. And, as a geek, as a synth geek, I have to ask, um, did you use Smart Morph to create those sounds? And were they FMX sounds? Because they sounded
Yeah.
really, the palette was huge. You had like some sounds that sounded like mellow roads, but at the same time you were morphing into something completely different, into very glitchy and very abstract sounds. That was really, really nice. So I would really like to know how you approach all these sounds.
Thanks. Well, yeah, I've got into programming FM lately anyway. In fact, there's a video on my YouTube of me playing some FM sounds on the montage because I just discovered how, we have an image of FM as being this harsh kind of industrial kind of sound, but it doesn't need to sound like that at all, actually. You can create really warm, smooth sounds with FM on the montage that sound beautiful.
Absolutely.
Um, so I had quite a few of those as a good starting point. And also I tried to program a few sounds because for anyone who's new to Smart Morph, which we all are really, the idea is you put between maybe 4 and 8 sounds into the computer. It, with its enormous brain, does some calculations and finds various points in between these sounds. And it's really interesting. So you can morph between the sounds. So what I decided was a good approach was maybe to start. I programmed a few sounds that were similar to each other. So like I had a sound, I might program another variation on that sound, just so that I could know that at some point there's going to be a fairly smooth transition between them.
Mm, right.
And then obviously then throw in a sound that's not like that, where okay, suddenly it's going to go into a glassy sound from a pad sound.
Mm.
Um, so I try to approach it like that, a few sounds that's quite similar, and then throwing in a couple of wild cards, and then you press the learn button and see what Yamaha comes up with. And if you don't like it, you can press the learn button again, and it has another go. So that I just found it's surprisingly easy because you can just pick up 8 presets from there's a lot of good sounds anyway on there that they've programmed up. You can just pick 8. You have to think about the 8 that you're going to pick. You know what I mean? And try to imagine what it's going to be like, the meeting point in between these sounds. So that was, a bit of experimenting. And then also, really, the other super cool thing about the Smart Morph is the way you can use it with the motion control.
Right. Yep.
You know, so you can have these. It's like a sequencer. It's going back and forth on a line that you dictate within this grid, and obviously it can be very extreme and glitchy, which can be super cool and futuristic sounding. You know, you can use that almost like a rhythmic sequencer.
Yeah. Yep.
I think it's amazing. It's almost like something you've never heard before. And you can use it like that, but you can also use it, I think, to make very small moves. You know, where it almost feels like it's just an LFO, but instead of just something modulating a waveform, you're actually going from one sound to another, but quite subtly. You know, so that can produce some very interesting movements that are also completely musical, you know, and that it's not just check out this crazy sound I got. You can actually use it in a track, you know, and people will be like, wow, what's that sound? You know, it's nothing you've ever heard before, basically. You know, that's very exciting, I think.
I mean, I really like what you're saying because that's exactly how I felt with when I first tried the Smart Morph. It's always you can create some really, really bizarre sounds, but the fact that you can also create really musical sounds that have not been possible before. I also want, I also say that when I talk about Smart Morph sometimes is that on the previous update, literally on the same instrument, you couldn't create those sounds. And I think you demonstrated this very vividly on your video because I could, I watched your video and I was like, how did he get that sound, And it's beautiful. And actually, I wanted to ask you, from your experience with Smart Morph up to this point, do you think that it will be a useful studio for you in the studio? For example, when you're creating sounds, when you're doing sound design for your album? Or do you think it will also work for live performance because of all these different variations you can get?
Absolutely. I mean, I think it will work for both. There's no doubt what you're saying is absolutely right. You know, it can be crazy, but you can, within that grid, you've got so many places, and if you can find a sweet spot always, you know what I mean, where it will sound really beautiful. And it doesn't actually have to be a sound that's moving all over the place. You know, so it's incredible from that point of view, just finding that sweet spot in a studio, for instance, and you can find a very unique sound that no one else has. You know, you can say no one else has that sound. And then, yeah, in the live situation, I think you can because with the motion control, you can create that movement in a way it's predictable because you programmed it. So you can, the same way as you might open and close a filter live, you know, in an interactive way, you can do the same thing without worrying about it making some crazy, you know, noise that's going to blow up the speakers.
Right.
You can program it, you can control it. So I think there's no doubt. And also the other very cool thing, obviously, is being able to use the scenes to control whereabouts in the super knob's position you are, which, you know, for people who don't know, that will that will move you across this line that you've designated of where the sounds can be. So you can find all the sweet spots, and out of one sound you can have 8 different, really pretty, either very different sounding things or quite similar if you want. You know, if you just want to gently progress a sound, you know, during a performance, and then obviously you can blend that with your AWM sounds. You know, the possibilities are just endless. They really are. You know,
Yeah.
I think the Montage is almighty now with the fact that, you know, you've got this sample robot. So, you know, if you've got a nice vintage synth that you love, just let the robot, you know, sample it for you while you're going
exactly.
You know, and then you can put it in the Yamaha, and then you can blend it with your Smart Morph things that you created, plus the AWM sounds that are in there. I mean, that is a mighty palette. There's no doubt about it.
I mean, the possibilities are endless, and of course, I mean, I'm pretty sure that anyone who subscribes and to your channel and they watch your videos, you can totally tell that you have like a large collection of vintage synths that are not even in production anymore. And like you said, with the sample robot, being able to take all these vintage synths and take them on the road with you? Because I'm pretty sure you won't want to take all your vintage synths.
No, if you're going to take an old Oberheim on the road, it's not going to be working by probably the third gig. They're getting clattered around everywhere. They're not going to survive. You wouldn't want to take them out, and you can't rely on them. Whereas, the Montage, you switch it on, you don't have to worry that is it going to work or not. It's a very reliable unit, as all Yamahas. I've always said that they're all so reliable. The other thing about it is, I think a lot of people own a Montage. They're not even scraping the surface of that FM engine that is so incredibly powerful. They're already happy maybe with a keyboard, but I think SmartMorph is actually, as well as being incredibly innovative, a very good introduction to FM. Because you don't actually need to know that much about the mechanics of how to make an FM sound to use SmartMorph. You can just put a load of presets together, and then it's a good thing, and you can end up with an original sound. So that has got to be a massive bonus, I think.
Exactly. You don't need to know anything basically anymore. You just find some sounds up to 8, and then you just go for it and see what you come up with.
There's a million different sounds can come out. That's a very amazing thing.
Matt, that was really insightful. It's really nice to pick your brain about what you think about all these, techniques when it comes to synthesis and your approach when it comes to music production. Really looking forward to listening to your album.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
Have the best of luck with it, and we're all looking forward to listen to it. And good luck with your channel as well. Matt, thank you so much for joining us today.
It's a pleasure, Dom. Nice to chat to you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye, guys. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.